Literature is the human activity that takes the fullest and most precise account of variousness, possibility, complexity, and difficulty. A novel is balanced between a few true impressions and the multitude of false ones that make up most of what we call life. It tells us that for every human being there is a diversity of existences, that the single existence is itself an illusion in part. It promises us meaning, harmony, and even justice. A good book is the purest essence of a human soul. The more books one reads, the more stupid one becomes. We must wash literature off ourselves. We want to be men first of all, to be human. Perversity is the muse of modern literature. The few really great, the major novelists, are significant in terms of the human awareness they promote, awareness of the possibilities of life. Classic, a book which people praise and don't read. Oh, it is only a novel, only some work in which the most thorough knowledge of human nature, the happiest delineation of its varieties, the loveliest effusions of wit and humor are conveyed to the world in the best chosen language. If there is a category of human being for whom his work ought to speak for itself, it is the writer. No man can write who is not first a humanitarian. A losing trade, I assure you, sir. Literature is a drug. Literature is a human apocalypse, man's revelation to man, and criticism is not just a body of adjudication, but the awareness of that revelation, the last judgment of mankind. Writing is a form of therapy. Sometimes I wonder how all these people who do not write, compose, or paint can manage to escape the madness, the melancholia, the panic, fear, which is inherent in the human situation. The hardest thing to do is to write straight, honest prose on human beings. For the creation of a masterwork of literature, two powers must concur, the power of the man and the power of the moment, and the man is not enough without the moment. Literature is the orchestration of platitudes. Literature is strewn with the wreckage of men who have minded beyond reason the opinions of others. Literature is a luxury, fiction is a necessity. There is first the literature of knowledge and secondly the literature of power. It takes a great deal of history to produce a little literature. Literature is mostly about having sex and not much about having children. Life is the other way around. When once the itch of literature comes over a man, nothing can cure it but the scratching of a pen. Literature is news that stays news. Great literature is simply language charged with meaning to the utmost possible degree. Medicine is my lawful wife and literature is my mistress. When I get tired of one, I spend the night with the other. Though it's disorderly, it's not so dull, and besides, neither really loses anything through my infidelity. Literature was born not the day when a boy crying "Wolf, wolf" came running out of the Neanderthal valley with a big grey wolf at his heels. Literature was born on the day when a boy came crying "Wolf, wolf," and there was no wolf behind him. Literature is the one place in any society where, within the secrecy of our own heads, we can hear voices talking about everything in every possible way. Pathology is rapidly becoming the basis of sensational literature, and in art, as in politics, there is a great future for monsters. Anybody can write a 3-volume novel. It merely requires a complete ignorance of both life and literature. Literature is the art of writing something that will be read twice. Journalism, what will be read once. The real purpose of books is to trap the mind into doing its own thinking. All books will become light in proportion as you find light in them. The oldest books are still only just out to those who have not read them. You think your pain and your heartbreak are unprecedented in the history of the world, but then you read. It was books that taught me that the things that tormented me most were the very things that connected me with all the people who were alive or who had ever been alive. Only 2 classes of books are of universal appeal, the very best and the very worst. Books are the opium of the West. Books are cold and certain friends. The proper study of mankind is books. I think we ought to read only the kind of books that wound and stab us. For books are more than books. They are the life, the very heart and core of ages past, the reason why men lived and worked and died, the essence and quintessence of their lives. All books are either dreams or swords. You can cut or you can drag with words. Books are the beads which carry the quickening pollen from one to another mind. Writing books is the closest men ever come to childbearing. There are people who read too much, bibliobibuli. I know some who are constantly drunk on books, as other men are drunk on whiskey or religion. They wander through this most diverting and stimulating of worlds in a haze, seeing nothing and hearing nothing. Who reads incessantly, and to his reading brings not a spirit and judgment equal or superior, and what he brings, what needs he elsewhere seek, uncertain and unsettled, still remains, deep versed in books and shallow in himself. Prolonged, indiscriminate reviewing of books involves constantly inventing reactions towards books about which one has no spontaneous feelings whatsoever. No good poetry is written in a manner 20 years old, for to write in such a manner shows conclusively that the writer thinks from books, convention, and cliché, and not from life. Books have to teach their readers how to read them. All books are divided into two classes, the books of the hour and the books of all time. Authors are actors, books are theaters. Books are good enough in their own way, but they are a mighty bloodless substitute for life. Read the best books first, or you may not have a chance to read them at all. There is no such thing as a moral or an immoral book. Books are well written or badly written.